Hello, everybody. Day 18 of practice here in Irvine, California is over. Deuce McAllister, Jeff Nowak, Mike Haas. So as Deuce just said, yeah, practice in Irvine's over. Camp is not over, right? But, man, 18 practices. They arrived on July 22nd. I would say efficient. How would you kind of label just the Irvine practices?
I think you got good work done. I mean, I think there's always work to be, more that has to be done. But I mean, as far as getting better, identifying some players, seeing some separation, still some question marks, I think that's all still in place.
For you, and today was shoulder pads and shorts,
Shells.
just shells, just kind of for the final practice, but still some big hit from Kool-Aid McKinstry, and also Brian Brzee and Lucas Patrick in a little scuffle. So you still had it was a pretty spirited practice.
Yeah, and I think, one thing that I think stands out, and you kind of watch these practices develop, we've seen practices with Rashid Shaheed, we've seen practices without Rashid Shaheed. I think speed at the wide receiver position could become a problem when you don't have A.T. Perry out there, you don't have Rashid, and I think we saw that a little bit today. Past Olave, I think there are a lot of question marks, and we'll have to see how it develops. But yeah, there's intensity. These guys are all fighting for a job. Kevin Austin has kind of become the 2-minute drill guy, right? The last 2 days, he's made big catches in those environments. Saints actually ran a fake spike today, and they missed Austin in the back corner of the end zone by about an inch. He had the second foot out of bounds. It went right back to him, same spot, caught a touchdown. So, he's a guy that he does have that speed, I think, and he could make an impact on this roster. And we'll see how if he can go out there on Sunday and have a big day, I think he's going to make a push.
Jeff, I'm glad you brought that up because I got to go back to my rule book. I remember vaguely that the fake spike,
Off limits?
yeah, it's somewhere, some part of that is illegal. So I got to go back in my rule book and kind of check, but it was a fantastic play, and I would like for the signal that he gives the receivers to be a little more discreet because
You saw it coming?
I saw it coming. But, I mean, the execution was really good as far as what they did on that play, and, I agree with you on Austin. He ran a deep dig route or in-breaking route where he did catch it, and get him down in position to be able to attack the end zone a couple times in that 2-minute drill. So he's a guy that has popped, and I agree with you. You've got to get some of the whether it's Tipton and Shaheed and some other guys kind of healthy to help with stretching the field. Jawan would be another guy. He may not be a speed guy, but he's going to be a big body, a faster vertical guy from a tight end position that helps you. And so, those are just injuries that are limiting you in that situation. But, from a development standpoint, I think you kind of see what could be if those guys are healthy.
And the flip side, I was actually going to talk about it because you look at that wide receiver room in the last 2 weeks where they get Means back, they get Equinemius St. Brown, they sign Shaq Davis, they sign Samson Nakua, you got A.T. Perry, so that's, if you take out Means, 6'3", 6'5", 6'5", 6'5". That back half, the room is completely different than it was when we arrived. And so the back half, yeah, maybe they don't have the speed, but they're certainly looking for a size guy in that back half.
Well, they're looking for a guy to take advantage of his size. I mean,
Go up and get the ball.
Yeah, you're still looking for a guy. I mean, there's got to be some separation there, but I mean, even if he's covered, I can still depend on him, and that catch radius is there until you have a different receiver than from what Olave and Shaheed are. But at the same time, you've got to be available. You've got to be available, and so it's good to have him. But does he know where to line up? Does he understand the offense? Does he understand where the soft spots in the zone are? Can he create separation when it's man-to-man? All of those things are going to come into play.
And finally for you, Jeff, just really we came here with some questions on both sides of the ball. Feels like defensively we have a clearer path. The question marks remain on offense. Running back, Kendre Miller, offensive line, who are the wide receivers, who are the tight ends? There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, you've dealt with injuries, and, on defense, I asked Dennis Allen yesterday whether he feels comfortable with what he's seen from the defense, just knowing that you haven't had either starting quarterback out there. You haven't had either starting linebacker out there, and Pete Werner and Demario Davis. But you have seen a lot of work from some of these younger guys, and I think that's what you need to see. Like Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, you feel comfortable with them in this offense for how many years, right? Same with Pete Werner, same with Demario Davis. But yeah, on offense, I think there are some questions to answer. I do want to say, before we go, you talk about all Irvine, right? You talk about these guys who stood out. I think Jake Haener, in particular, in these 2-minute sets, in these end-of-game scenarios, we saw it against the Cardinals at the end of the first half, 40-some-odd seconds, one timeout, gets him down the field to score. Today, you had a situation, 48 seconds from the 40-yard line, I want to say, 45-yard line, no timeouts. He gets him into the end zone and scores. There are situations, when you look at quarterbacks, the guys we call winners are often the guys who execute in those scenarios, the game-deciding scenarios. And if I had to pick one thing for a backup quarterback to show that I want to see, it's how do you handle those situations, right? Because a lot of the other stuff is you're going to pick it over time. I think you kind of, there's some, you might call it moxie, you might call it whatever. I really like what I've seen from him in those situations, and we saw it out there today.
And finally for you, as we arrive on campus, there's a huge anteater out front, and there's a bunch of people taking pictures, and we see a guy wearing an Olympic medal. Turns out we went up and talked to him, David Smith, part of the USA men's bronze medal volleyball winning team. You talked to him, spent some time with him on the field. That's a pretty cool way to end it here at UC Irvine.
Yeah, I mean, that was cool to see. And the first thing that you know is, wait, that's an Olympic medal. And so to be able to go and talk to him, and, he was a 2007 national champion here at UCI. And then that was his 4th Olympics. I mean, and so he's won bronze twice. They didn't medal the other 2 times, but he's on the fence about LA in 2028. But just pretty cool to see him. And, what's interesting is he's leaving to go to Poland, is where he plays professionally in a couple weeks, just because I guess in the States we don't have a league for.
Poland won the gold. They're the standard bearer.
Well, there it goes. And so he plays in one of the best leagues right now. So it's pretty cool to meet him. And, he got to talk to a couple of staff and some other members of the team. So it's pretty cool.
Yep. UC Irvine's been fantastic. And he's chasing the medal count when Greg Louganis goes to your school from the Olympic side, which he did. That's a tough medal count to catch. But, man, they've been fantastic. Weather fantastic for Jeff Nowak, Deuce McAllister, Mike Haas. Again, all of your coverage as we get ready for San Francisco in preseason game 2, WWL AM and FM.com. And don't forget the Odyssey app.
Do that.